Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast, where we dive deep into the home gym scene. I'm Adam, and I'm joined by Jake. And tonight we have Britton Cameron, who's a mechanical engineer by day and the founder of Vendetta Strength Equipment. Britton, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Been looking forward to it. I know we kind of bounced around the dates a little bit, but super excited to be on and talk about Vendetta and talk about what's going on in the fitness industry. So
Happy to have you. So we'll interview Britton in part 2 of this podcast, but we're going to start off by talking about the survey results from Sunday, which was a look at a level of interest in 20 potential rack attachments. So with that, Jake.
All right, let's do this. As Adam mentioned, we are going to talk about the rack attachments interest survey results, where we simply had a list of 20 different rack attachments, everything from jammer arms to sandwich J-cups. We even threw something like a Smith machine where you might find on an all-in-one rack, and just simply asked, what's your level of interest, high, medium, low, or neutral? So we've broken this out into a few different sections. To start out, we will go with the lowest level of interest. So the 5 that you hear on the screen, if you're watching on Spotify or YouTube, are the Smith machine came at the lowest level of interest with about 8% voting high. We have the Globe Grip pull-up bar, just over 16% high interest. Monolift attachment, 17%. Jammer arms, just over monolift with 17.45%. And then the Massonomics drink spotter was thrown in there as well. That was a little bit under 18%. Personally, I was surprised to see the jammer arms and monolifts on this lowest level of interest. You guys surprised at any of these?
yeah, I'm surprised at the jammer arms a little bit. When we released our mounts, we got the occasional comment on there like, "Oh, jammer arms are useless," so on and so forth, and that's understandable from certain crowds. Powerlifting, they don't really fit into that crowd so much, so it's understandable for them. Jammer arms are just underdeveloped to me. We'll get into that with the mount and everything, but there's so much potential in them, untapped potential. I think you can do a whole lot more than what people realize or that we've been able to in the past with them. Monoliths, I'm surprised that one's on here too. The drink spotter from Mass Economics, that thing is a work of art. So I don't know. I'm surprised that thing's on here too as well.
Yeah, I guess the one that definitely doesn't surprise me is the Smith machine bottoming out the list. Jammer arms, there's definitely a crowd who doesn't like them.
I think Britton made a good point. If power lifters aren't into them, that takes out a good amount of this audience. CrossFitters aren't really going to think about jammer arms. So I think that taking those 2 out really hurts the jammer arms. And like Britton said, that they may just be underutilized right now. So that's the beauty of these surveys. Maybe some new jammer arms hit the market and next year they rise.
Yeah.
We have a little more interest.
Yep. And I know from seeing a lot of y'all surveys, a lot of the home gym community, a lot of us garage dwellers and basement dwellers are power lifters. Like the majority of the home gym community is. I think it's like probably 30 or 40%, maybe even more than that. And then you add on CrossFit on top of that. So you do have kind of a lower percentage in there that's looking for that home gym, that kind of multi-purpose that hits all of the highs.
Yeah, and also just when we're doing a lot of these surveys, the more niche products get hurt for stuff like this.
Yeah.
And the simpler to use, they're kind of hard to vote against. The basic,
like a barbell.
Yeah, like a barbell. Most people are gonna choose a high level of interest for even the basic things. This is a good look at the bottom of the 20 that we asked about. Moving on to low-ish level of interest. So these received between 20 and 30% high interest votes. So we have a couple of plate-loaded options like the plate-loaded lat tower, functional trainer-like attachment, specifically as something that's plate-loaded. As you can imagine, we asked about selectorized options, which we'll talk about later. They had a little bit higher interest, but just keep in mind the plate-loaded wasn't quite as high as those. And then we have sandwich J-cups that did receive more votes than the monolift, but they were not the top attachment on the list here. I'll just move on to the next section too, so we have a little bit more feedback. So next is medium interest. So We categorize this as between 30 and 40% voting high interest. So from bottom up, we have the roller J cups with 33% high interest votes, a selectorized functional trainer like attachment, and that was 34%, band pegs 35%, selectorized lat tower just under 37%, and then a leg curl / leg extension was at 38%. A few notes here: the roller J cups were the highest voted like J cups that we talked about on this list of 20, beating out monoliths and sandwich J cups. And as mentioned above, the selectorized options beat out the plate loaded. And then I thought it was interesting that there's not a ton on the market right now. It seems like maybe a few newer options coming, but the leg curl / leg extension had 38% high interest. So for me, when I think about that, it would be ideal to have something like that. Two of the favorite lifts take up a lot less space on a rack. So I think that's where 38%.
Yeah, and I think you hit it right there. You said two of the favorite lifts, which is that leg extension and that leg curl. I mean, all of us started out in a commercial gym, and if you want an amazing leg pump for a leg day, you head to that leg extension. That's just a classic. I mean, you feel it. So a lot of us that have migrated over to the home gym side, we missed that. So I'm not surprised to see that on this list. Selectorized attachments or standalone lat towers. I mean, they're going to beat a plate loaded any day of the week because we want to dedicate our plates to barbell movements. We don't want to dedicate them to an actual like tower or functional trainer or something like that. Functional trainers and selectorized lats and or lat pull downs and stuff like that is kind of on everybody's wish list. I know it's on mine. Can't swing the wife over to chunk over that chunk of change yet, but we'll see. Maybe I'll sneak one down here eventually. Roller J-cups, I mean, I don't know. They're on my wish list too. Maybe I don't lift heavy enough to warrant needing that roller adjustability because I've never had a problem with traditional J-cups, but they're definitely sweet, especially like the Go Strong ones and the Irwin ones and all of those that are coming out. So, I mean, there's some amazing attachments coming out with them. Band pegs, they're simple as that.
It was a couple weeks ago when that first kind of leg curl came out, wasn't it? The leg extension attachment.
Yeah, Titan came out with one, and then there's been a few like Stray Dog, and then the Bulletproof.
So can I show y'all something real quick?
Yeah.
So this was a prop, but this right here.
Oh yeah,
that was my version since March of last year. Kind of developing that, designing and developing that. I actually had a patent pending on it in like May or August. Provisional patent pending on it because I was one of the first out there. It's you can move the seat two ways. So you can mount it flat or you can mount it vertical like that. So you can sit on it or rest your thighs against it. Attaches to a rack. So, but I decided to talk myself out of it and decided to kind of sideline it for a little while I played around with a flywheel and then I played around with jammer arms. And then lo and behold, Titan sweeps in March and releases theirs. So mine doesn't weigh 80 pounds, and I might release it eventually, but we'll see. Theirs is more refined. Their seat's better. They've got handles on it that are incorporated into that mount and everything like that. So, but we'll see. If anybody's interested in it, I mean, reach out to me. Let me know that you're interested in it.
Nice.
So you've had that since you said last March.
Yeah, I have. I was talking to Matt Pendergraph about it and Kyle over at Kaizen about it as well. But that's just one of those things where early bird gets the worm, man. And I was the bird that slept in that day. So
Crazy.
Whatever. Win some, you lose some. That's one of the many kind of things that I slept on over the years. But oh well. I think I have. Yeah, actually. Let's see. That's a original picture from February 2021 of my design. I don't know if that shows up, but
yeah, saw that.
That's awesome.
Oh well, now I'm here. Congratulations, Titan. And that the Stray Dog mount, man, that they came out with, that thing is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then also the Bulletproof Strength one that just came out too. That is a work of art.
Yeah, they both look like really nice options.
Yeah. I will always give credit where credit is due, and those guys deserve it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We can talk about that in part 2 as well. But Adam, any other feedback about the low-ish or medium interest before we move on to the high interest section?
No, with the leg curl and leg extension, I guess, we talked about it just coming out a bit ago. And then, the conversation's kind of already gone that way where you see others jumping out there with theirs. It'll be interesting to watch it grow. Britton, your version looked very compact, easy to store. That was some of the complaints that we just kind of shared, like possibly having with something like that. And it's like, wow, that looks like a heavy piece of equipment. How do you store it? Yours looked very concise. Yeah, it'll be cool to watch that one like evolve.
So I store mine. I was looking for a picture. It's probably buried in here somewhere, but I store mine on like one of those. It's basically a custom made like Monster Light strip, those wall mounted strips.
Yeah.
That's how I store mine. I have it mounted on a 6x6 beam down here in my basement, and that's just how I slap it on and off. So, and yeah, I mean it's easy to take on and off. It's pretty compact.
Yeah,
that's an option for anybody out there looking for a storage solution. Is look into those short, like 16-inch or 24-inch or whatever strips that you can mount to a wall.
All right. Well, let's just get through this data. So, highest level of interest. So, rounding out the list, we have 7 that had over 40% high interest. So, starting from the bottom, dip attachment, 40%, barbell storage, 41%, straight pull-up bar, just under 44%, multi-grip pull-up bar wins the pull-up bar battle with 47%. Landmine came in at number 3 with 50% high interest. Plate storage, number 2, 53% high storage. And then safety first spotter arms had 60% high interest. A few notes in addition to what I just said. Interesting that plate storage beat out barbell storage by a decent amount. Landmine beat out dip attachment 5 years or so ago. Those were kind of the primary attachments you would think of when adding to a power rack. So crazy to see how far we've come in the last 5 years or so. And then I mentioned the multi-grip pull-up bar was the most popular pull-up bar. And I would say most of these items here are just like the more practical items. So like they're the more basic things that you'd add to a rack as opposed to something like jammer arms, like we discussed earlier. So
yeah, these are the core essentials right here for building out a home gym.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up. We did ask on an Instagram post what people's favorite rack attachments were, and it was pretty much what you'd expect. People said safety spotter arms, they said landmine. A lot of people mentioned their pulley systems like the rep lat / low row or the Rogue Slinger or the UPS. Those are typically people's favorite if they do end up adding something like that. The favorite rack attachment I've ever used is the lat low row from Rep that attaches to a rep rack. So any other feedback for this question or the survey in general?
I'd agree with you, Jake, that my favorite is all system that attaches. But it was interesting to find that in the medium or the low-ish group, even the selectorized one. When you talk about like level of interest, you don't necessarily have to be buying it yourself. Like, is it interesting or not? It still was not nearly as high as I thought it should be.
Yeah, I'd love to have a selectorized plate set up on my rack. So I just have a half rack, 2 half racks that are bolted to the wall. I might combine them eventually and have a full rack, but for now I like them what they are. But I passed up a free loaded machine, like one of those multi-purpose, multi-station cable machines that we're all familiar with. They're sold at like the big box stores, the selectorized ones. And somebody was selling one on Facebook for free or giving it away. And I was like, man, I think I could tinker that up and mount it inside of the rack somehow and have some dual stacks on each side. But I waited too long. I was like, locked myself out of that one. But yeah, favorite rack attachment for me would probably be jammers because I'm biased now. Yeah. But before that, I would say a landmine and probably dip attachment. Those 2 simple ones.
Yeah, Adam, back to your question about why people didn't vote for like the lat pull down. I'm surprised too, but I think if you haven't tried one, you just might not really know. That would be my guess. And like when you get to the more expensive options, it takes away a good amount of people because they just haven't added them yet.
Yeah, the more inexpensive, I guess, highly used options did top out the list, right? Spotter arms, dip attachments. That's pretty affordable for everyone with a rack. So yeah, I think you're right on that one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get my hands on a UPS and mount it to the cross member up here and attach a cross member between these lever arms like Matt Pendergraft did in some of his YouTube videos demonstrating some of the capabilities of lever arms, because I played around with that a little bit and was able to come up with a lat pull down variation for these. So, but I think if I was able to get my hands on a UPS and mount one of those up, then it would help out a lot more, because it would lessen that angle that cable is going to be attached at. So it'd make it a lot more smoother than what my DIY method was of just an Ace Hardware pulley.
Yeah.
If you're listening, reach out.
Yeah. Me and Jason have talked a little bit on Instagram. So solid dude. He's up there in Nashville, Tennessee. So hopefully me and him can meet up one day and plot our takeover of the fitness industry.
Nice.
Then we can have Matt on the video and marketing side of things, because he's in Tennessee as well. So
Yeah, there you go.